Are you ready? Help me sing it now. 1, 2, 3, let's go. I was made to do amazing things. I know. I was made to be his hands and feet. I know. God made me to shine, makes me come alive, makes me wanna live my life for him. God made me to shine, makes me come alive, makes me wanna live my life. Wanna dance, 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 dance all around. I wanna jump, jump, jump and sing out loud. He is the light I found, I just can't hide it now. I wanna shout it out to the world. God made me, yeah, and I'm unique, yeah. I wanna go wherever he will lead. I will go. Imagine all the possibilities. Oh, I know. God made me to shine, makes me come alive, makes me wanna live my life for him. God made me to shine, makes me come alive, makes me wanna live my life. I wanna dance, 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 dance all around. I wanna jump, jump, jump and sing out loud. He is the light I found, I just can't hide it now. I wanna shout it out to the world. I am wired and wonderfully made by desire to sing his praise, shout it louder. I believe God made me to shine. I am wired and wonderfully made by desire to sing his praise, shout it louder. I believe God made me to shine. Oh, God made me to shine, makes me come alive, makes me wanna live my life for him. God made me to shine, makes me come alive, makes me wanna live my life. Wanna dance, 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 dance all around. I wanna jump, 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 sing out loud. He is the light I found, I just can't hide it now. I wanna shout it out to the world. God made me, yeah, and I'm unique, yeah. God made me, yeah, and I'm unique, yeah. God made me.
Good morning, friends. Welcome to Wake Up and Worship. It's Friday, so that's extra exciting, but I'm excited because we've been spending all week talking about how we can trust that God's plan is best. If you were with us on the weekend, you know that we've been looking at Jonah's story and how God has a plan for Jonah, but Jonah doesn't trust that God's plan is best. He decides to go his own way, and that was a really bad idea. We saw earlier this week in Wake Up and Worship that going our own way, taking our own path that seems right to us instead of God's path, actually leads to death or destruction, ruin in our lives. It's not good at all. And that's what happens to Jonah. He gets on this boat thinking he's going to escape from God. And we already saw from Jonah's story that God is omnipotent. He's all powerful. He makes this storm come up out of nowhere. There's nothing that he can't do. And God is omniscient. He's all knowing. He knew Jonah was going to be thrown out of the boat. And so he prepares this fish there so that Jonah doesn't drown. And he knows the second Jonah hits the water, the storm stops. Because God is omniscient. He's all-knowing. He knows everything. Today we have one more omni word. And this word is omnipresent. Omnipresent. That means that God is everywhere. You can just say all present if you want, but let's say the omni word together. Omnipresent. Can you say that? I'll trust you. Omnipresent. God is all present. He is everywhere. There is nowhere that God is not. I want to look at a few scriptures with you this morning that talk about that. And so the first one is in Jeremiah, and this kind of has to deal with Jonah. Remember, Jonah gets on this boat. He doesn't like God's plan, so he decides he's going to escape from God and go as far away from Nineveh as he can. We saw that this didn't really work out for Jonah, but sometimes we try and do the same thing. God comes to us with a plan, tells us what we should do, and we don't want to do it. In fact, a lot of times we run the opposite direction as far as we can from God's plan because we don't like it. The Bible tells us that we can't escape God. We can't hide from him because he's all present. It says in Jeremiah 23, verse 24, "Can anyone hide from me in a secret place? Am I not everywhere in all the heavens and earth, says the Lord." God tells us himself in the book of Jeremiah that he is everywhere in all of the heavens and the earth. You can never hide from him or escape from him. And so you should go his way and follow his plans because you're not going to get away from him. He's going to keep working in your life, asking you to follow his ways if you're a follower of Jesus. And so you should follow him because he's all present. He's everywhere. Now, when we don't follow God's plan, we want to escape from him, and we know that we can't, and so we should follow him. But there's a reason that we should follow him that's good, too, and it's because God is all present. David talks about this in Psalm 139 in a different way, not in like a scary way of like, oh no, I can't get away from God, but in like a, wow, I can't get away from God. What an awesome promise. Here's what David says in Psalm 139, which we looked at last week, but this is a portion I don't think we read, starting in verse 7. "I can never escape from your spirit. I can never get away from your presence. If I go up to heaven, you are there. If I go down to the grave, you are there. If I ride the wings of the morning, if I dwell by the farthest oceans, even there, your hand will guide me and your strength will support me." He says, "I could ask the darkness to hide me and the light around me to become night, but even in darkness, I can't hide from you." It says, like, I can't hide from God. I can't get away from him. I can go to the farthest oceans and still you would be there. This isn't a scary thing. David says this is a good thing. Remember the verse in the middle. In verse 10, it says, "Even there, your hand will guide me and your strength will support me." God is all present. He is with you everywhere you go. So you can follow his plan, even when you think you're not strong enough, even when it seems too hard or impossible, because God is omnipotent. He's all powerful, but also because God is all present. He's there doing it with you. Remember holding your hand on the path that seems too hard? He's there, all present, there with you, giving you strength and guiding you along the way. What an amazing promise, friends. Here's another one from Deuteronomy that I just love. Sometimes we don't follow God's plan because it seems too hard, seems impossible. Maybe we think it'll take too long. Maybe it looks lonely. Maybe we just are afraid. But God gives us this promise in Deuteronomy 31. He says in verse 6, "So be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid and do not panic." So don't be afraid. Be strong. Be courageous. That means be brave. Have courage. For the Lord your God will personally go ahead of you. He will neither fail you nor abandon you. God goes before you and he prepares the path, the plan that he has for you. And then it says, not only does he get it ready for you, but he'll neither fail you nor abandon you. That means he'll never leave you. God is all present, friends. That means he is with you every step of the way. You can follow God's plan and trust that it's best. You can trust it because God is omnipotent. He's all powerful, so he can make it happen. There's nothing that God can't do. And God is omniscient. He's all-knowing. He knows your heart and your mind, your thoughts. He knows your future and what's best for you. And so you can trust his plan. And God is omnipresent. All present. He's everywhere. There's nowhere you could go where God is not. And so you can trust God's plan because you know he's going to be there. He's going to be there helping you along the way because he's God and he loves you and it's his plan for you to give you a future and a hope. And so friends, remember this. You can trust God's plan is best. There's no reason not to trust God's plan, even if it seems hard or impossible or scary. He knows what's best. He's there helping you along the way. He's going to do it through his power and his strength. And so trust that God's plan is best and go his way. Jonah doesn't. And we're going to see what happens because of that on Sunday. But Miss Ashley's going to have a fun announcement and some ideas for you after we worship again together. So for right now, let's stand up and wake up. We're already awake. So we'll just stand up and worship.
I'm not a warrior, I'm too afraid to lose. I feel unqualified for what you're calling me to. But Lord, with your strength, I've got no excuse. 'Cause broken people are exactly who you use. So give me faith like Daniel in the lion's den. Give me hope like Moses in the wilderness. Give me a heart like David, Lord, be my defense. So I can face my giants with confidence. You took a shepherd boy and made him a king. So I'm gonna trust you and give you everything. I'll be a conqueror, 'cause you fight for me. I'll be a champion, claiming your victory. So give me faith like Daniel in the lion's den. Give me hope like Moses in the wilderness. Give me a heart like David, Lord, be my defense. So I can face my giants with confidence. I'm gonna sing and shout and shake the wall. Won't stop until I see them fall. I'm gonna stand up, step back when you call. And Jesus, Jesus, I'm gonna sing and shout and shake the walls. Won't stop until I see them fall. I'm gonna stand up, step back when you call. And Jesus, give me faith like Daniel in the lion's den. Give me hope like Moses in the wilderness. Give me a heart like David, Lord, be my defense. So I can face my giants with confidence. Yeah! Give me faith like Daniel in the lion's den. Give me hope like Moses in the wilderness. Give me a heart like David, Lord, be my defense. So I can face my giants with confidence. I'll face my giants with confidence.
Hi friends, before we leave our time together today, I have a very special invitation for you. You are invited to a very special slime making party, because who doesn't like slime? Miss Christy and I are hosting a Facebook Live slime making party. All you have to do is gather your supplies and meet us here on Sunday evening. We're going to post a couple different recipes so you can look through the ingredients and find what works best for your family based on what you might already have at home. You're just going to grab those things and you're going to meet us right back here on Facebook on Sunday evening, and we'll get to see you then.